22 years ago, Lois and I and our two kids at that time, Becky and Stephen, moved to Inuvik. We came here in the summer, and the adjustments were immediate. We flew out of Edmonton, it was dark, and as we flew north, the sun was rising, and we landed in Inuvik about 2 a.m. at the time, and it was just broad daylight. And the ministry here had prepared a little place for us to stay, so we went to work setting up our little household. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, we're still trying to organize, but just dead tired. And it took a while for us to realize, hey, it's daylight, but it's 4 in the morning, time to go to bed. And so that was kind of an introduction that just told us, you're not in Kansas anymore. Things are very different. The first adjustment and difficulty that you have is the loneliness and the isolation. And we were literally here alone. We did have another missionary family close to us that we were able to fellowship with, but they by design allowed us to experience some loneliness. And the Christians that were here in the community, we were the new kids on the block. They didn't know whether we were staying for a week or a day or a year. And so they were constantly wondering, how long are we going to stay? And so we didn't get a lot of closeness there. And so, we had, our kids were small, and no grandmas, no grandpas, no aunts, no uncles. It was just our little family. And that was a hard thing, but that was a good thing, because it really did cause our family to grow close through the years. Everybody dreams of their first mission of, teaching the little kids Sunday school and the flashcards and the flannel graph. And, you dream of being able to talk to somebody one-on-one and them just, falling at the feet of the gospel. But there was resistance. I mean, we were non-Aboriginal. We did come from the States originally, and so we were American. And that's 2 strikes. Another strike is just don't intrude on my space. And so right away we were met with that type of resistance, and I thought it would be all super high-powered spiritual ministry, but I found myself spending a lot of time under the church thawing out frozen pipes. I found myself spending a lot of time heating up a vehicle that needs started. I would get calls to, hey, can you come and help me pull my vehicle out of the ditch? And I was just surprised that the mission field isn't packed with those high-powered spiritual events, but it's packed with a lot of activity. And I learned to realize that all of that makes a difference in the long run, that all of it is ministry. It all is used by God to reach people eventually. And in order to not be discouraged and give up because I wasn't getting to hand out 100 tracts a day, I had to realize that everything matters, and God takes little things and makes great things out of them, and God's looking for faithfulness, and I just needed to learn how to be faithful. We've been involved in 3 ministries here, Inuvik, Aklavik, and Tuk. Inuvik is the main ministry at this point. About 3,000 people are in Inuvik. Aklavik and Tuk, about 700 to 900 in Tuk. And we feel as though Inuvik needed to be a strong and stable ministry first in order for the ministry in Tuk and Aklavik to succeed. And so our main focus has been on Inuvik, but we've been traveling to Aklavik and Tuk in an effort to keep those works open and advance them as much as possible. So our efforts were to travel to those ministries at least once a week for many years and hold services. And then not only in Aklavik, but I would go once a week to Tuk and hold services there. while working a full ministry here, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Sunday evening. Our focus in Inuvik has allowed us to really see a goal of making this an indigenous and self-supporting ministry here. From the beginning, it's been a dream and a goal to see this ministry in Inuvik especially turned over to an Aboriginal preacher. And for years, there was nobody on the scene to take up that banner and become a preacher. But we know the biblical principles there, and just by faith, you just press on, and you don't know how that guy's going to come. He didn't come from the adult membership, but he came up through our ranks as a young man. We're going to get to see him take over these ministries in the next few years, and we'll have a truly an indigenous-led ministry, totally autonomous. We just don't know of any other place that this has happened. In all of the North, certainly in the Canadian North, we don't know of another indigenous independent Baptist preacher or church that is totally self-supporting, not run by mission dollars. We feel that this is a great success and a great victory. And I think back to the days when there was nobody on the horizon, and now, and it's such a victory and an impossibility that only God was able to do, and faithfulness was the key to it all. Aklavik now has a missionary, Brother Larry Nolan, and that is his home base. He's doing a fantastic job, so we feel that ministry is secure and on its way to autonomy in the future. And that leaves Tuktoyaktuk. Tuk is a community that sits on the shores of the Arctic Ocean, locally the Beaufort Sea they call it, and that makes it quite difficult to get to. We've been able to travel there by ice road, which is completed somewhere around Christmas of every year, and then the last of the ice road is near the end of April. When that ice road is gone, community of Tuk is only accessible by flying in. It is isolated in that way, and that makes it difficult and not very appealing to many people. And not many missionaries will even consider going to a place like that. We've always been very active in Inuvik and Aklavik, but Tuk has always been the church that was forgotten, or the church that, we can't go this week because the weather's too bad. We can't go this week because we're just too busy. And that's always bothered me. And I didn't feel like Tuk has gotten the same amount of support and effort put toward it that I should have done through the years. And so to go to Tuk and to see the dream fulfilled, to see that ministry finally get someone consistently going there, preaching the gospel, and to have Tuk have a chance. One of the reasons why we've had limited success in the past is because we haven't lived there. We've just traveled to the community, and you're always going to be a visitor that way. A loved visitor, an appreciated visitor, but that's not your home. And we need to make Tuk our home. The church building that is there has a fairly small area in it that we're going to turn into an apartment. It was an apartment. It turned into a Sunday school room at one point, and now we're going to transition it back to an apartment. That'll be our first place that we'll stay, trying to make it comfortable enough to be able to stay there for periods of time without traveling out. There's nothing there, just a shell, doesn't have running water. We're going to have to do some serious work there, but it's a place that's available, and we feel that it can be just comfortable and used of the Lord. It allows us to live in the community and that be our home. The immediate goals I have for Tuk are for people just to trust me, to know that I'm going to be there, to know that I'm not going to pack up and go home, to know that when it's church night, that the doors are going to be open, the lights are on, and there's going to be a service delivered. To know that our Christians will know they're going to get fed, that our Christians are going to know that if they bring a visitor, that visitor's going to hear the truth and going to hear the gospel delivered to them. It may sound like some simple goals, but they're foundational. They're important. If I'm not trusted in Tuck, I don't have a chance. There's no hope that I'll ever be able to make an impact. But if I'm trusted, they'll someday be able to trust my Jesus. I've got a dream about being the preacher in Tuck. That when people want to talk to the preacher, when they have a problem, that they know where to call. They call the Baptist preacher is what they'll say. And they won't do that unless I'm in the community. And if I am in the community, I have a chance to reach out, no matter what faith, no matter what problem, they'll call me because I'm there. And of course, I have the truth. Churches have sent me to deliver the truth, and I want to be there to do that job.